Hey everybody, I did a live earlier that I thought I would share with you. It's about, does practice really make perfect? What kind of practice works for us? So there was a part of this, I was having internet issues and the video was cutting in and out. So I cut out a little bit of the video before I put this on YouTube. But it's all about the power of the subconscious mind. So when I start talking about the book that I was talking about and the Audible I'm listening to, I was talking about the power of the subconscious mind. And I think everybody would benefit from this. So watch the rest of this video and thank you for subscribing to my channel. All about the subconscious mind. And it wasn't the book itself that really hit me hard. It was the introduction chapter. And in the introduction chapter, it mentioned something that really nobody's ever thought of before, or nobody's ever explained to me before. And it mentioned that, you know, most people read a book from start to finish. And then you think back, you're like, oh, what happened in chapter 5? I'm going to go back and look at chapter 5. Or some people, you know, they look at the table of contents and go, okay, I only need what's in chapter 7 and 8, so they read chapter 7 and 8. So have you ever thought about trying it a different way? And this is what really hit me when I heard this introduction. He said, the introduction of the guy doing the Audible said, he flat out said, he said, what if you read the first chapter over and over and put into action each time something that you learned from that chapter? So I learned from this chapter, chapter 1, I learned X, put X into action, read chapter 1 again, oh, then I learned Y and Z. I put Y and Z into action, and then I learned A, B, and X, and the next time I read it. What if you read the first chapter multiple times and implemented it? I'm actually going to try this with a couple of the books I'm into right now, because I find myself all the time doing that. I'll read through the entire book, even though I might highlight and make notes and scribbles and come back and look at it. I'm still having to come back and look at it, and I'm not getting the whole picture. What if I was to stop? What if you were to stop? What about one of the books you're reading? What if you stopped and read chapter 1 3 times? Could you learn something new each time you read chapter 1? Would you be able to put it into action? You know, and so I was at work today, and there's an acronym we use that we use in the manufacturing world, whether you're in aerospace, automotive, most well-structured manufacturing companies, they have some sort of part approval process. And so we have this acronym, it's PPAP, PPAP, and it stands for Production Part Approval Process. Well, I was sitting there at work working on one of these, and it just clicked. I was thinking about what I was going to talk to you guys about today with this. And so I'm using the acronym PPAP in a different way. And yes, I just made this up, so you're welcome. But it's practice, persistence, adjustment, and practice. Think about it. You know, we're told for our whole lives that practice makes perfect. Well, no, that's baloney. Because if practice made perfect, then everybody who went out on a baseball field or a soccer field or went fishing would catch the biggest fish every time or be the star soccer player. No. Practice and persistence, so you already have the practice, you're working hard at it. Persistence is practice, you already tried it. Persistence, you're working really hard at it, but then you learn things and you have to make adjustments. And that was one of the reasons it clicked for me today. Between last night and this morning before I headed to work, I was working on some business stuff, and one thing just clicked. It was revolving around my following up with people. But it just clicked. It was like, wow, I need to adjust that. And it started me thinking about some of the other things I need to adjust, because I've been boom, boom, boom. I've been practicing and persistently practicing for a long time. Boom, boom, boom. I've been doing the same thing over and over, which is good, but I haven't been making adjustments. I mentioned it in one of my other lives the other day. I said, you gotta look at what works and what doesn't. And I wasn't making adjustments to what wasn't. So now I've made an adjustment. I put it into practice. I started that yesterday with some more this morning. And I've already seen changes and seen positive changes. So PPAP, PPAP, practice, persistence, adjustment, and practice. Practice alone doesn't make perfect. Practice, persistence, adjustment, and practice. You got to start by practicing. You got to be persistent and relentless and keep going and going and going after it each and every day. And then when you find something that is working or you find something that's not working, you make an adjustment to where it starts working. And then you start practicing again. And the whole thing starts over. So think about it. Next time you're reading a book, think about it. Say, should I read this chapter again? What if I read this chapter over and over a couple times? Could I learn more? I bet you could. I've read a couple of books back there multiple times, and every time I learn something new. And I'm highlighting new comments, and I'm underlining, or I'm folding over corners of pages, putting notes in there. You should look at them over and over again. Might work out for you. Otherwise, work on your PPAP. Your practice, persistence, adjustment, and practice. See y'all next time.